In Terraria 1.4.1 we got some debuffs changes, and you may think it's not a huge deal, that the debuffs are just a minor addition to the game, because you know, you can kill Moonlord without them, right? But they are pretty important, and in today's video I will showcase them all for you.
Gender reveal party sparked this massive blaze that's still burning.
Let's begin with the Magma Stone change. So Magma Stone used to do a standard on fire debuff, which I will show you here, which is dealing 4 damage per second. However, it got changed, and right now the Magma Stone and all accessories that come from Magma Stone deal the Hellfire debuff, which is 15 damage per second. So the Magma Stone is the best debuff that you can get in pre-hard mode, because the other one you can get in this stage of the game is the Poison debuff. However, it deals 2 damage per second, and well, it can negate the health regeneration, but enemies don't regenerate health, so yeah, it's pretty useless. So moving on to the hard mode, we have the Cursed Inferno debuff, which deals 20 damage per second. And to the things that get changed, the Frost armor set actually deals a lot more debuff damage right now, because it got the Separate debuff. So it used to inflict the Frostburn debuff, but right now it has a Frostbite debuff, and this debuff is a lot stronger. So let's see. Yup, around 25 damage per second for just wearing this armor set. And what if I tell you that you can stack the debuffs? So we have the Frost armor here, we have Magma Stone here, and we have the Cursed Flames Flask. Let's see. Yup, they all stack. They all stack together, giving you around, let me see, 15 plus 25, which is 40, and then another 20, which is 60 damage per second from just the debuffs. And that's not the end of it, because there are some weapons that actually have the debuffs on their own. So in hard mode, it will be the Shadow Flame Knife. Shadow Flame debuff can deal 45 damage per second, and if we stack it with current 60 damage per second, we get the whooping 105 damage per second from only the debuffs. Yep. Yep, that's exactly how powerful debuffs are. So let's put it to the test, and let's get the Queen Slime here, because usually that will be the first hard mode boss that you will be fighting with. This fight lasted for 132 seconds, and if we multiply this by our DPS, which is 105, we will get the total of 13,860 damage throughout all this fight, which is, you know, a pretty big amount of damage if you ask me. So you can see that even in the boss fights, those debuffs can pack a solid punch. And moving on to the Post-Plantera debuffs, we get the Flask of Venom, and it deals 30 damage per second. And of course we have the Flask of Ichor, which will reduce the enemy's defense by flat 15. Of course we cannot see this on mannequin, but let me show you here. So without the Ichor, we will deal like 7 damage to this skeleton, and with the Ichor, yep, our damage increases because he has lower defense. There comes the question, which is better, the Ichor or the Venom? Flask of Venom can be better on the weapons that have a low attack speed, but as we know, there are no weapons in this stage of the game that are slow. So the Flask of Ichor is always a better option. However, if you are playing on multiplayer, then the Ichor should be applied only by one player, and you should focus on using the Flask of Venom to add some damage to your attacks. And we also have the Betsy's Wrath, which lowers the enemy's defense by 40, and this effect lasts 10 seconds, and after these 10 seconds you need to apply it again by attacking the enemy with the Betsy's Wrath. In this scenario, for example, if you are fighting with someone, right, with some boss, you're damaging him, yes, and you need to swap to Betsy's Wrath and hit him again. Well, that's not the most practical way of doing it. Also, if you are playing multiplayer and have a mage in your team, then he should use Betsy's Wrath basically at all late game boss fights, because Betsy's Wrath itself is a powerful weapon and he can hold this debuff on bosses all the time, which you definitely want. But what else was changed in the 1.4.1? Well, right now, as you can see in the description, whips also get the flask effects. So if we have the whip here, right? And for example, let's drink the Cursed Flames flask, and the whip will inflict this damage. The Ichor is the flask too. So let me show you the difference. Okay, we will summon the Finch, we will summon the Skeleton. So without the Ichor, the Finch deals around 6 damage, right? Now let's apply the Ichor, and the damage increased. Of course, this will excel with the stronger summons and the stronger whips. So the Ichor actually increases your summoner damage by a ton. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Flask of Gold. Melee attacks make enemies drop more gold. Well, if you look at the lucky coin description, we can see hitting enemies will sometimes drop extra coins. So, by descriptions, those two items look like they do exactly the same thing. You need to hit enemy to receive more money. But in fact, it's a way different story, because the Flask of Gold debuff actually increases the amount of money that monsters drop upon death, while the lucky coin gives you money from hitting enemies. And that's a dramatic difference, because the lucky coin is an RNG item. You have a chance to get money, or you have a chance to not get the money. While with the Flask of Gold, you will get the money all the time. It's consistent, you will get this, you'll get the money every time the enemy dies. So actually, let me do a little test here. Let me summon the Pirate Invasion, and we will do it 2 times to see the difference in amounts of gold. Okay, so from the first invasion we got 44 gold coins. That with the Flask of Gold. And let's put the lucky coin now and let's see. Okay, and we got 59 gold coins by using the lucky coin. Well, the difference isn't huge, but there is a difference. So it appears like the lucky coin gives us a bit more money than using the Flask of Gold. But the lucky coin is one of the rarest items in the game, so you are good to go with the Flask of Gold if you need some money from the event. Now let's talk about the sources of the particular debuffs. You can get the Magma Stone from the Lava Bats in Pre-hard mode and from the Hell Bats in hard mode. You can get the Cursed Flames from the Underground Corruption enemies. You can get the Ichor from the Underground Crimson enemies. To make the Flask of Gold, you need the Gold Dust, which you can buy from the merchant after defeating the Wall of Flesh, and you can get the Venom from the Witch Doctor after defeating the Plantera. Well, that's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. See you in the next one, and bye. Stupid slimes.